What up, guys? Big Dave here. I'm going to be quickly going through the upcoming UFC 315 card. Belal Muhammad versus Della Maddalena. Will JDM get another victim on his streak, or will Belal Muhammad keep on improving and show us all that maybe he is one of the best? Stay tuned. But we're going to start with the first fight of the night. We got Brad Katona versus Bekzat Almakhan. This is a tough fight to call because Bezcat, he's a very tough, hard-hitting guy. He's got good cardio. He's got good power. He got out-wrestled in his last fight, but that's Umar Nurmagomedov, so I don't know if that means he's necessarily a bad wrestler, but he definitely got worked in that fight. But I think he took it on short notice as well, so keep that in mind. And Brad Katona, he's a tank, dude. I don't think he's ever been knocked out. He's got a big, frame. He's got good cardio. He's got good, fundamentals. He's a little stiff. He doesn't necessarily have the best head movement. He can get caught clean, but he's got like I said, he's got a really good chin. But he likes to rely on the clinch as well, and he likes to wrestle. And I can see that giving Bekzat some problems. The thing is Brad Katona's not really a finisher. He's more of like a point fighting neutralizer. So I'm going to go Bekzat. I think he's going to be able to just beat him on the feet, land the harder shots, defend the takedowns, and just kind of out damage, quote unquote, Brad Katona. So I'm gonna say Bekzat Almakhan by decision. Next fight, we got Daniel Santos versus Jing-Young Lee. I think this has potential to be fight of the night. Both of these guys usually like to put pressure on whoever they're fighting and land big combinations. Daniel Santos more of a Muay Thai style. He comes with his hands. He doesn't really feint like a jab and come through. He kind of just walks you down and tries to unleash combinations against you when you're against the fence. But he will use takedowns. He will take you down. He will sit in top position. He has good jiu-jitsu. But his A game is to walk you down and beat your ass. Jung-Young Lee, very similar, except for he's more of the explosive type of striker. He likes to put immediate pressure on you with his presence because he's a big guy. And he pushes you back against the cage. And then he unleashes like two strike combinations, but he relies on his speed and his power. Kind of leaves his head up there to get countered. And I think that's what kind of cost him in his last fight with Hyder Emil. They kind of started brawling it out, and he just, he didn't move his head. And when he wasn't landing, he was just getting landed on cleanly. And eventually he got TKO'd. And Daniel Santos, he can be rocked. He's been head kicked quite a few times. He's been dropped quite a few times. But I think the fact that he'll go to the wrestling is a big advantage here. I think Jung-Young Lee is going to have the advantage on the feet early. But I think Daniel Santos is going to be able to overcome it and use his cardio and his pressure and his takedowns if needed to take the decision. Possibly like a second, third round TKO. So I'm going to go Daniel Santos. You know what? I'm going to say second round TKO. I think he wears him down and lands a big shot and pulls it out. But yeah, good fight. Next fight, Marc-Andre Barriault versus Bruno Silva. This is such a weird fight because Bruno Silva, he's just looked unmotivated. His pressure's non-existent anymore. He's just looked unmotivated, whereas Marc-Andre Barriault, he still looks like he wants it. He wants to get in there and fight, but he's been caught twice in a row now and put out cold in the first round. The first time he had his guard up and Joe Pyfer just punched around his guard and hit him on the temple, rocked him, and then put him out cold with the follow-up. And then the last one against Dustin Stoltzfus, I think he got buzzed right before it with an uppercut because you see him kind of he's getting up off the ground. He gets buzzed, And then he's kind of just like, you know, reaching, which I think happens a lot of times when you get rocked. You're trying to get the clinch, but he wasn't, his head was down, and then Stoltzfus just knocked him out cold with a right hook. So it's like one guy isn't getting knocked out, but he looks like he's just going through the motions. Maybe he'll come in motivated. And Marc-Andre Barriault, who wants to fight, and he still wants to do the damn thing, but his body's letting him down, or his defense is letting him down, I should say. And so this is a coin flip, and I don't really feel good about this, but I think I'm going to go Bruno Silva, which is insane. I don't know why I pick him. I've picked him so many times and being wrong. So don't go by my prediction, but I just feel like his body's not betraying him the same way as Marc-Andre. And he still is dangerous, and he still will throw back. And I think, you know, Marc-Andre being so slow, if he's not out there and he doesn't put the pressure on him, he's going to get countered at some point. So I'm going to go Bruno Silva. I'm going to go first round TKO. I don't know. Moving up the card, we got Ivan Erslan versus Navajo Sterling. I'm going Ivan Erslan, and this is more I don't understand Navajo Sterling's thought process sort of thing. I think Navajo Sterling likes to counter, and that seems to be his main game. He wants to draw you in so he can hit you with a good left hook. And Ivan Erslan is going to give him that, but I think the takedown threat, which, you know, he will go to, even though he's mostly a kickboxer. Actually, never mind. I'm switching my pick. I'm going Navajo Sterling. I think he's just too big. I think he's inexperienced, which is why I was going Ivan Erslan. But yeah, I think Ivan is just going to give him, or Ivan is going to give him too many opportunities to counter. And I don't think he's going to use his wrestling. But, you know, he's only 6-0, and Ivan Erslan's got over 14 fights, I believe. So he could experience get him. So, yeah, I was leaning Ivan Erslan, but talking about it, I think I'm going to have to go Navajo Sterling, and I'm going to go by decision. Even though he didn't look great against Tuco Tokos. Still. Next fight, Ion Cutelaba versus Modestas Bukauskas. So Ion Cutelaba, you know, he's coming off the win versus Ivan Erslan. Fuck. And, you know, he showed some good skills. You know, his speed was still there. His power's there. He was able to hurt Erslan. Modestas Bukauskas, you know, he can be hurt. He's looked better, but he is just defensively not there. He kind of pushes his punches. He's a big guy, but he doesn't have a jab. And he gets hit by the right hand over and over. And I think Ion Cutelaba is going to be able to time the right hand. But will he be able to knock him out? Because it's not like Modestas gets just put out cold with every clean punch he gets hit with. You know, Vito Petrino knocked him out with one shot, but even like Jimmy Crute cracked him multiple times before putting him out. And Khalil Roundtree destroyed his knee. So I'm not thinking that he's like super chinny. I just think that the game of trying to swarm Ion Cutelaba and knock him out, which seems to be what Modestas likes to do, I don't think it's going to work. And I don't think he can take him down and submit him. So I'm going to go Ion Cutelaba, and I'm going to go first round TKO. I think he catches him with the right hand and puts him down and finishes him. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Next fight, Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Jessica Andrade. I got Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think Andrade's best days are at 115. And I don't think at 125 she's going to be able to just walk Jasmine down and, you know, do this when jabs are coming at her and then come with the left hand right hook running combination. I think Jasmine's too big. She's on a run right now. And she seems to have a good chin. She can be hit. You know, she kind of will just sit there and trade jab, cross, hook and not move her head. So she can be hit, but unless Andrade's power just translates up at this point into 125. I think I'm going to have to go Jasmine because I think she can take her down and submit her. So I'm going to go Jasmine Jasudavicius. I'm going to go second round submission. I think she's too big. Her takedowns are too strong. She's got good timing. And I think Andrade, this might be just a last-ditch effort to get something going. Maybe she felt slower than her last opponent, Natalia Silva. So I'm going to just have to go Jessica Andrade. I'm going to have to go Jasmine Jasudavicius. I'm going to go second round submission. Moving up, Charles Radke versus Mike Malott. I'm going to go Charles Radke. I think Mike Malott is good when he has space, when he can dictate exchanges. I think he's a big, strong guy, and he does have good takedowns, you know, at the lower level at least. And he's got good kicks, and, you know, he has some decent power. Charles Radke, I think, will be able to... You know what, man? Charles Radke is more of just a boxer, but he's got a great left hook, which is always a plus, man. It's such a dangerous punch to have. It's going to force Malott to be very, very selective about when he throws his right hand. But I wonder if Malott's going to be able to out jab him and just move and then kick him from the outside. And Radke, but I think Radke's going to have some good ring cutting. I'm going to pick Charles Radke. I think he's going to be able to land combinations on Mike Malott. This is sounding unlikely as I say it, but I think he's going to land combinations on Mike Malott, and I think he's going to just pressure and kind of bully him around. And yeah, I'm going to go Charles Radke. I'm going to go second round TKO. But he's an underdog, so I don't know. Next fight, Benoit Saint Denis versus Kyle Prepolek. I'm going Benoit Saint Denis because I have no clue who Kyle Prepolek is. Don't bet on this fight. I didn't have any time to research it. I thought he was fighting fucking, what's his name? Joel Alvarez. So, yeah, I don't know. Benoit Saint Denis, I guess. But don't bet on the fight because he's like a minus 1,000 favorite. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going Benoit Saint Denis, even though he's lost his last two. I don't know who Kyle Prepolek is. And if he comes in and beats BSD on short notice, then yeah, I'll have to take notice. But I'm going to go Benoit Saint Denis. Next fight, Natalia Silva versus Alexa Grasso. I'm going to go Natalia Silva. I think Alexa Grasso did not look so good against Valentina Shevchenko. I don't know if she's injured or what's going on. But I think if she's going to try to just walk forward, throwing boxing combinations at Natalia Silva, she's going to run into some counters. She's going to get kicked. She's going to get side kicked in the face, body kicked. She's not the best ring cutter, but she's tough, you know. So she could come in there and just walk Natalia Silva down and box her up. But I think Natalia Silva looked good in her last fight, and I think her boxing's improving, and her cardio's looking good. She could do that for 3 rounds while throwing up crazy kicks and shit like that. So I'm going to go Natalia Silva, and I'm going to go by a unanimous decision. Next fight, Jose Aldo versus Amin Zahabi. Amin Zahabi is an interesting guy because he's about the same age as Jose Aldo, but he doesn't have nearly as many fights or championship experience or any high-level experience. This is going to be the highest level fighter he's ever fought. And for Jose Aldo, you could argue that this is one of the lower caliber, or at least, yeah, caliber fighters that he's fought in the last fucking however many years. Amin Zahabi, he has like this weird hunched style where he hunches and he uses his left hook and he uses his jab. And it's weird because he looks like he'd be coming forward, but he loops them and he will duck behind his shoulder. I kind of like it, to be honest. And he'll counter in combination when people throw naked low kicks at him. But Jose Aldo, lately, he's been more of a boxer. He's still got his tricks. He's still got his knees. He hurt Jonathan Martinez with a knee. But his counters on the feet are where he gets his money. But, you know, the fact is that he can be pushed up against the cage by everyone, it seems like. Even Jonathan Martinez was having success pushing him against the cage. And then we saw what Mario Batista was able to do, Merab was able to do. So you wonder, is Amin Zahabi going to try to clinch him up? And I think he might try to, but I'm going to pick Jose Aldo. I still think he's too fast on the feet. I think he's got such a good eye for a counter. And I don't think Amin Zahabi's pace is good and is going to be high enough to break Aldo. And I don't think, unless Aldo is really on the downslide, I don't think he's going to get surprised by anything Zahabi does. So I'm going to go Jose Aldo. I think Zahabi fights at his pace, man. And you fight at Aldo's pace at your own fucking peril, dude. So I'm going to go Jose Aldo. I'm going to go by unanimous decision, possible third round TKO. But yeah, Jose Aldo. Let's go, baby. Next fight, we got Manon Fiorot challenging Valentina Shevchenko for the flyweight title, or strawweight title, I forget. So Manon Fiorot, she's big, she's a southpaw, she's got a good right hook and a good left straight, a good side kick. That's about it. She's big and she'll fight on the outside, and she seems to have a good chin. She's kind of slow, she's not the fastest, and she becomes kind of predictable after a while. She'll do the same exact right hook, left straight, right hook, left straight, right hook, over and over and over, especially if an opponent's not adapting. I feel like Valentina looked really good in her last fight. At least counter, like that was probably the most aggressive I've seen her in a while. Alexa would throw a right hand, and Valentina would slip, come back with like 3 punches. And I think against Manon, that can work really well, and the takedowns. But you know what? I picked Manon Fiorot to be a title holder when I first saw her, and I'm just gonna stick with it. She's the underdog, and I know Shevchenko's probably the better fighter. She's fucking proven. And I think Manon Fiorot might just be big, but I've just been picking her this whole time, so I can't all of a sudden switch up. So I'm going to go Manon Fiorot by decision, but yeah, bet at your own peril. Next fight, we got Jack Della Maddalena versus Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad, man, dude, I looked at his Tapology. He hasn't fucking lost a fight in his last 11 fights since he fucking fought Jeff Neal. That's crazy. He's beaten every single person. A couple of those are some OGs in there. And then a couple are guys that, aren't even in the UFC anymore. But still, at the top, he's still managed to pull it off against Burns, against Brady. She finished Sean Brady. So he beat Leon Edwards. It's tough, man. He's putting that pressure on people. He's boxing. His left hook, his jab look good. His pressure is great. His cardio is still great. But he's going against my boy JDM. JDM is a fucking power-fisted fucking ape index monster, bro. That dude's got bungalows for arms. He throws them hard. He sets it up. He has a great fucking eye for a counter. But his takedown defense is questionable. He makes some interesting choices. He's the kind of guy that you can trick into thinking you're exchanging on the feet and then shoot. And he won't even he'll be like, you little pussy, or whatever. But he still has really good scramble. And I think he is going to be able to scramble fast enough to get out of Belal's grasp. I think this is going to be a close fight, and I think Belal is going to try to put that pressure on him. But I don't think the same combinations are going to work against him that worked against Leon Edwards. I don't think I don't think Jack Della Maddalena is that passive. His reaction is not to be safe. His reaction is to try to take your head off. And I think that could give Belal trouble. I think big hitters are they have the best chance of beating Belal. You can't just try to outpoint him from the outside. He's too aggressive. He's too strong. And he's going to just pressure you, and you're not going to be able to set up a kill shot. However, someone that just bombs on him You know, this is the guy that got knocked down 3 times by Alex Joban, who was just a back foot counter striker. And this was his UFC debut, or maybe his second fight. But, you know, in that fight, Belal does come on in the 3rd round and beat the hell out of him. So he might just overwhelm Jack Della Maddalena. And it looks like that's what the odds makers are picking, because he's a minus 260 favorite. But I'm going to go for the underdog, bro. I'm going for 2 and news. I think JDM is gonna look bad at a large portion of this fight, but I just think he's got the magic and he's got the juice for now. I'm really hoping. So I'm gonna go Jack Della Maddalena. I'm gonna go 3rd round TKO. But I think Belal Muhammad obviously should be the favorite. He's proven at this point. But yeah, I'm going JDM. So yeah, anyways, that'll do it for today. Tell me, am I a fucking bozo? Will I remember the name? Or will JDM come out on top? And all you Shevchenko stands, go ahead and call me stupid in the comments. All right, guys. Late.